Hi everyone, welcome to another lesson and another day in the life of Riley. So Riley and I are going to help demonstrate how to teach sideways without a fence. Now, I haven't done sideways without a fence with Riley. To be fair, I've not done a lot of sideways either, which is something that I generally do with the young horses, is I don't deliberately teach them sideways, but I do teach them the ingredients, and I try and get the ingredients really good. Ingredients for sideways, your lateral movements of course, good forehand yield, good hindquarter yield, and then regulate the forward or backward motion. So this will be new to him. We are going to be teaching him. Obviously, before you teach sideways without a fence, you should have sideways. So I'm happy we've got enough understanding to where I can send him sideways. Now we're going to see if we can't take that without a fence. And if that's wrong, I will go back to a fence and I'll start it from there. So there's a few different ways we can go about this, and what would influence me to do it differently would be the understanding level of the horse. So we're not trying to make it difficult, we're just trying to set it up till they understand it and they start to take responsibility for that movement without a rail in front of them, a wall, or me blocking them, anything like that. So I'm going to give you a couple of prerequisites, if you like, or a couple of ingredients that you might pull out to make sure you're in the best possible place for going sideways without a fence. Obviously, sideways with a fence, check, you want to have that going. Something to look at, because it does make a difference, there's a lot of things that do make a difference, is how good your forehand yield is. So when I yield his forehand, what's he doing with his hind legs? Is he going forwards or is he going backwards? Now, mostly when we move the forehand, we want them moving forwards around their inside hind leg, and that would be considered to be correct. It carries the rider better. That's how we do our pirouettes and things like this. If I set it up to do a good forehand yield and he actually stepped backwards, so he was stepping backwards with his inside hind leg. So inside being the hind leg in the direction of travel. So if I was pushing him across to his right, it'd be his right hind, be the furthest one from me. Is that a botfly? Well, that might put a little spanner in the works. So if we watch that, if I actually yield his forehand and he's stepping back, what he's actually telling me is he's not thinking about going forwards. Now this is advantageous to going sideways without a fence. So I don't mind encouraging that a little bit. So let's just see here what we've got. Oh, my friend. Okay, so let's see what we've got in the way of a forehand yield. So if I really put a little pressure on him, what's he doing with his hinds? And you see there, we had a little movement in the hinds, but for the most part, he was actually thinking about going backwards. So that's going to really help me when I come to do this. It might be that one side he goes backwards and the other side he goes forwards, and that might just be he's a little happier weighting one hind leg, and he tries to weight the same hind leg in each direction. We don't have to get too fussy on that, but it's an interesting thing to notice. So let's try this again. Move that, Riley, that, Riley. That shoulder there we go. Okay, so hopefully you got to see that. He moved a little bit backwards on that side, a little bit all over the shop really. So that's just an element of it. So there's a couple of other little things, and if you've been working your way as you should through the first 3 courses, you'll find the third one, we do a little exercise called back and over. I think we'll take a little break here while I go and find a botfly, or maybe we'll even film me finding the botfly, because that's an interesting thing, isn't it? So let me see if I can draw it out onto my side. I can't see it, my friend. I can't hear it either. What's going on? No, I don't see it. Where is it? I can't get it if I can't see it, mate. You can see it. And got it. We suckered it into coming over here. See that? I'm your savior. All right. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, that's very upsetting. It'll be traumatic for him. It'll take a little time to get over it. You'll be fine, my friend. Right, where were we, Riley? Before your traumatic experience. Okay. Oh yes, back and over. So hopefully you've done this with your horse anyway. It is a element that will give you some advantage, right, if you can do this. So oftentimes if you take your stick or your flag and you bring it from behind and you bring it forward, it actually helps them to go forwards. If we do back and over, it's one way of teaching them that the flag up here doesn't necessarily mean forwards, right? So the back and over, we'll do something like this. We lift up, we go back, I turn, flag comes in, and we go, oh, over, Riley. I know, we haven't done that, that doesn't matter. Yes. May as well do it this way so people can see us coming back. And the back, as we already know, is just to get the weight shift back. And if the weight shifts back, it takes the weight off the forehand, right? And over. There we go. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. So that's one little thing you can play around with. You can make sure you've got that going for you. If you did have a horse that was particularly forward thinking, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do this. So if maybe in your forehand yield he was going forward, still traveling forwards quite a bit, if I was to do something like this, if I was to have my rope not real tight, but to where if I tap it, he's going to feel it, you see? So if I bring this in and go tap, he's going to go backwards. Now if he goes backwards, that'll also mean he's not going to go forwards. You're right. So that can stop a horse who's walking forwards. You tap it, boom, they're going to stop. When I operate my stick and string here, I'm going from his eye to his nose, eye to his nose. If I'm operating it lower than that and just up and down here, he's apt to ignore it or turn his chin over the top of it. So it comes under here, it's not as effective. So I would think about doing something like this. Now this in itself could mean back up, and obviously if I touch there, it gives them that physical example of, oh, I should have gone backwards. So with those things in place, those would be my little corrections. Those are the things I might have to use. Let's just come over here a bit, Riley. We've a bit screwed around there. Okay. So let's see how we go. And obviously you would do those on both sides, those preparations. So I'm going to ask his forehand to move over. Probably given just what I've just done, he's going to go over and back a little bit. Then I'm going to ask his hindquarter to go over. This is where, when you ask the hindquarter to go over, the horse is apt to go forwards more often than not. So then you may have to make a little correction in the front as you take his forehand across. So we'll just see how this goes. So we go forehand, over. So that was more of a back. So then hindquarter, let's move that hindquarter, Riley. Hindquarter away. Oh, and that was actually a sideways. Yeah, there you go, mate. That's all right. And you can see he's going, well, it's a bit different. Don't really know what we're talking about here. So we just give him a little bit of a time to process that a little bit. His little brain. That might not be too bad an angle to watch this again. So again, let's see if we can't think about the forehand going. Forehand going, hind quarter going, that means hind. Forehand, yes, hind. Oh, that was very good. That was very, very good. Okay, that was really good, mate. So you can see when I went to the hind quarters, started to drift forwards, but as soon as I brought that to go to the forehand, stop the forwards. So then we're able to actually have a couple of sideways steps. Now, just as well we're not on a tightrope, we would have fallen off a long time ago, but you can see starting to get the idea, or at least starting to move as he's supposed to. What do you think, my friend? If I had a very forwards horse, I'm going to stand up quite forwards on him, so even get in front of that drive line, get quite a long ways forwards. If he was a bit more backward thinking, now I don't think he's backward thinking, but I've created a horse that's backward thinking by doing those little exercises, then I could shift back here a bit more so that I can make those adjustments. One key thing here is if I'm asking his forehand to move, I don't quit asking it to move until it actually moves. Then as it's moving, I go to the hind quarter and I'm asking that to move until it moves. So I don't just end up doing this windscreen wiper action, which has no relevance to where he's putting his body or his feet. So I'm trying to guide a part of his body. Fore, and then hind, fore, hind, fore, hind. That's pretty good. I could possibly even take that flag off because it's creating a lot of backwards in you. Never mind, we'll just do that. Okay, that wasn't too bad, my friend. I know. So, all being well, I'll be saddling Riley in about 9 months. We've kind of got it in the schedule that he's going to begin the starting process. He still looks pretty babyish to me. So we'll just see. We may not actually pull that off, or we may not get as far as we think, but that's the idea. That's the idea, buddy. So in the meantime, you're going to learn some things like this. Okay, so I come in here and go front, over. Now that was a little back, so front, over, back, front, back, front, a little back, there, back. Good man. Very clever. And you can see, yes, there's a lot of things, we're a bit all over the place and a lot of things not perfect. I think that's really good. Okay, I think he's doing well, because what he's doing is he's trying to respond. If anything, he's a little bit over responsive when I initially ask him to move off, and he's thinking a little backwards because I've created that. I also know that the more I do this sideways, the more he's going to want to go forwards, so it's not really a problem. And I could even try, so we're going to go to the other side, I could even try something like this. Can we move your forehand? Can we move your hind quarter and your forehand? And just enough to get, there you go, the L. There we go. Well done, my friend, well done. So we are beginning our sideways without a fence. And I'm trying to do it without a lot of rope wiggling and banging up and down here. I don't want to exchange a wooden fence for a rope fence or for a lot of motion here. I'm trying to set it up to where he has to get very mentally engaged and figure it out. And you can see it's a little hard for him. He's going, well, you're up here. Do I go back? Do I go this way? Is it forehand? Is it backwards in a circle? Like, what is it? So I have to just make little corrections. And through those corrections, of course, now he's learning. It's very good. If you've got a horse with a lot of try, you've got a horse that's going to make a lot of mistakes. Horse without much try isn't going to make a lot of mistakes because they're not even trying. Much like humans, right? So, here we go, my friend. Can we get it from here? Yes. Ooh, a little bit there. Got my L, yes. Oh, look at you. Look at you. You're the best 3-year-old we've got in the arena. Okay, so you can see a little bit how we set that up, how it progresses. With the young horse, I'm not going to ask him to do a lot anyway, so it's not going to get a lot better than this even in the next year, because I'm just going to not do a lot of it. But we'll do little bits here and there, and then before you know it, we'll be riding and we'll be doing our lateral movements, and all's well in the world. he'll be understanding and responding. Okay, have a little play with that, have some fun. Good luck.